Hey kids, it's Papa. You ready to explore the Bible? All right. Take your Bibles and turn with me to 1 Samuel chapter 25. 1 Samuel chapter 25. Now here today we're going to see a story about a fool, an angry man, and a wise woman. Okay? And so the fool was a man by the name of Nabal. It's interesting that the name Nabal is the Hebrew word that literally means fool. Okay, you might want to remember that. Nabal means fool. But he was wealthy. He was rich. I mean, he was stinking rich. And he sent all of his sheep with their shepherds up north in Israel to get pasture and to stay up there for a while. And it turns out that they went up right near where David was. And, back then when there was an army, the army felt that it was right to go and to take cows and sheep and pigs and whatever they thought they ought to eat and to take it from the land. But David didn't do that because those sheep didn't belong to him. And so he actually not only didn't take the sheep, but he protected the shepherds and the sheep so that no one else could attack them or take their sheep. And so after a while, the shepherds went back to Nabal with all the sheep. And David said, you know what, I wonder if maybe he's grateful for that. So he sent 10 of his young men down to greet Nabal and said, hey, we took care of your shepherds and your sheep and none of them were lost. And maybe you'd like to help us out. Maybe you'd like to send us a gift. And in that situation, normally a person would say, well, yeah, I appreciate what you did. And even though I don't have to, it is something that I think I want to do. And so he would send, some sheep and some whatever. But instead, take a look at what it says at 1 Samuel chapter 25. Nabal got angry and said, who is this? Notice verse 10. And Nabal answered David's servants and said, who is David and who is the son of Jesse? Kind of answered his first question, didn't he? There be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master. Shall I take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed from my shearers and give it unto men whom I don't know whence they be? I don't even know these guys. I have no idea. So forget it. No, get out of here. So David's men came back to him and told him all about it. Well, how do you think David responded to that? Now, keep in mind, Nabal didn't actually owe David anything. And yet it was a custom. And so David was angry about that. He was furious. And so he told all of the men, all right, put your swords on, get your shields. We are going to go and we are going to kill everybody in Nabal's house. Now, sometimes when you get angry, you say things that you shouldn't say. You say things you shouldn't mean. You say things that are hard to back down from. And so when you are angry, keep your mouth shut. You understand that? Okay? David should have said, and kept his mouth shut. He should have slept on it. He should have gone to God and said, Lord, should I be angry about this? Is this right to be angry about this? And, God would have calmed him down and said, no, just don't trust Nabal again. He's a fool, But he didn't. He got angry and he opened his big mouth and he got his men and said, we're going to go and take care of this guy. And in doing so, rather than being the righteous individual, he became more of a tyrant and a thief and a pirate. And that's not God's way, okay? That's not God's way. And so he went. Now, here we see the fool, Nabal, the angry man, David. Now we see the wise woman. Notice verse 14, but one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them. But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant with them when we were in the fields. He notice in verse 16, they were both a wall unto us, both by night and by day, and all the while we were with them, keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what thou doest, because evil is determined against our master and against his household, for he is such a son of Belial. He's a son of the devil, that a man cannot speak unto him. So Abigail realized, whoa, we are all in trouble. And so notice what she did in verse 18. She went and took 200 loaves of bread and 2 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs. And she laid them on the asses and said unto her servants, go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal. Okay, probably a good idea. So she sent them on ahead, and David saw these gifts coming and said, who are these from? And they're from Nabal. And he was like, oh, okay. And then Abigail came and caught up, and Abigail said, listen, my husband's a fool. Please don't hurt us. And David had already received the gifts, and he thought, okay. And notice that in verse 25, let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is Nabal, so he is. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, thine handmaiden, saw not the young men of my Lord whom thou didst send. Okay, we're not at fault here. Nabal is, not us. And David said, okay, all right. And so he left. But the interesting thing is that Nabal heard about what had happened. And he got angry. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to have something to drink. And he started having drink, and he got drunk, and he threw a feast. And you know what? He died. We don't know how. We don't know why, but he died. And David realized, ooh, wow, better that the Lord deal with him than me. Okay? And this is something you need to understand. God keeps the score, okay? God is going to even out everything. And so you simply have to trust God. Well, David sent for Abigail, and Abigail actually became his wife, and the story continues. But 3 people. The fool. Don't be a fool. That was Nabal. Angry man. That was David. David did a lot of good things, but here he was angry and he shouldn't have been. And third, the wise woman, Abigail. And that's what you want to be like. All right. Hey, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.